Hello everyone, it is Saturday, June 6, 2015, and this is your Radio Tokyo broadcast. I am your host, Jonathan, and Danny and Nick are back with me again. So, guys, how are you? It's been a whole week.
I'm sleepy.
You're sleepy?
I'm also sleepy.
Why are you sleepy?
Because I was working all day.
I had
Doing
blood
what?
drawn.
Yeah, what, Danny?
I had blood drawn, and I was
What?
a big girl, and I didn't cry.
We're proud of you.
I know, I'm proud of me too.
Why'd you have blood drawn?
'Cause I had a physical,
Oh,
and I guess they want to make sure that I'm healthy or whatever.
oh,
It's kind of what they do.
well, that's good. Oh, I was kind of worried. He said, I had blood drawn. I was like, did you
And I've
go
apparently only gained 4 pounds in 2.5 years, so go me!
All right.
Woot.
That's pretty good.
That's damn good.
I blame my boobs.
You're
That's
what?
even better.
I've gone from a C cup to a double D in a year, so the weight gain ain't my fault.
It's completely understandable and justifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Awkward pause.
But it's
Yeah.
just the truth.
You know,
Mhm.
I think this is, okay, I think this is probably the, I guess, realest intro we have had to the show yet, which is good in a way because of today's topic that I wanted to discuss, like reality and stuff like that. And okay, I have to go ahead and say this. Like, I feel as if I don't say this, that I'm being a bad person. I think everyone lately, has really, 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 truly been paying attention to the news. If for no other reason than to make fun of certain individuals. And, like, honestly, I think everyone needs to be themselves, and that's it. Like, I'm not trying to, get on a soapbox or anything, but I think it's important that everyone is just themselves, and that's kind of why I like, doing this show with you guys, because, like, we get along and we work and we talk, and it's fine. And I kind of wish, the rest of society would just, step up to the plate in that regard.
He's
But it's
completely
fun to
lying.
lie.
He's completely lying. He does not let me be myself at all. I'm just saying.
The real you is scary and needs parental guidance, so not gonna happen.
Well,
Yeah,
Danny
Nick.
might be right.
Yeah, Nick, the real you is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it.
But, like, okay, anyway, that's kind of why, I'm glad, that this week's topic is talking about, like, the reality of what it would be like to be a superhero. But first, before we get into that, I want to talk just lightly touch on what seems to be being perceived as as yet another fuck up on the part of Blizzard. Hearthstone, their card game is stupidly popular. It has something like 30 million players, I think, which is a lot. Like that's more than World of Warcraft has. But I think it was like last week or so they released Black Rock Mountain expansion. Wasn't it last week or was that
It was a couple weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, but
It
it
was like
wasn't
a
like
month
super
ago,
recent. Yeah.
maybe a little more.
Um, and okay, people who play the game, I'm sure, are going to be aware of this. But the first expansion, the Necron expansion, you
Hmm.
could buy all the wings for like $25, or you could purchase it with in-game money. And
Yep.
Nick actually pointed this out to me the other day, and I was not aware of this, but you can get the wings for BlackRock with in-game currency. Blizzard didn't fucking say this. They didn't tell anyone that you could purchase it with in-game gold. And honestly, I kind of think that's a mistake on the part of Blizzard. Um,
It was a weird thing to me especially when you were acted so surprised that you didn't realize you could buy it with gold.
I didn't
Because,
know. I
um,
really did not know.
well, I think the part of the confusion was they set up the pre-order. You could pre-order BlackRock, and the only option for pre-ordering BlackRock was, it was currency, $25 or whatever. And I I guess this was just my intuition or I correctly guessed this, but I figured once they actually released BlackRock officially that you could buy it with gold like you did with Naxxramas. And I think a lot of people just assumed because of they saw the pre-order and they saw you could only buy it with the currency or real money that you couldn't buy it with gold.
Well, see, okay, like I saw the pre-order thing, but whenever I saw like everything I saw that said you can purchase it via the in-game shop, whatever the hell term they used for it, everything that I read said cash. It was money, like real money. I saw nothing that said you could buy it with in-game gold. Which like I'm glad I can. I'm glad I know that, but I still don't see a lot of people noticing that. But like the whole reason I'm bringing up um, Hearthstone, and I'm really sorry, Blizzard. I am so very sorry to jump on your ass over one of the best games you've produced lately. Um, but yesterday they announced a new hero. Yay! It's not a brand new they could have very easily added in a a Death Knight deck or something like that, a Death Knight or Monk deck, because right now, if you notice, you have Hunter and Warlock and Druid and all that bullshit, but Monk and Death Knight are missing from that, and Blizzard could have done that. And when I saw a new hero, I thought, oh hey, that's what we're getting. No, uh, I thought, okay, maybe they're going to add in the promised from about a year and a half ago. Actually, the game was in beta testing when this was mentioned. Excuse me. Blizzard said that there was a possibility that they would allow you to reskin your heroes. Like the warrior is Garrosh, Garrosh, for example. And Blizzard said, well, hey, we'll probably allow you to reskin your hero. That way you could have, varying Rens if you want if you want a different warrior. Well, that seemed to have been kind of forgotten, and most players asked to be able to have, more decks or different wings, different versions of the game and whatnot. Well, yesterday Blizzard finally announced a brand new hero, which is exciting, but it it seems to have backfired a little bit. The hero is Magni Bronzebeard, which I'm excited for because I am a big Magni Bronzebeard fan. Uh, but it's a reskin for your warrior. The only thing that happens is you get a new little character icon, and you get a new power up animation and a card backing. You're paying $10 for that shit. It's otherwise exactly the same. I mean, there's not really any difference. And
Then what's the point?
I know, but it's something that could have easily been done, for free. They could have put in a promotion, said, "Hey, here, do this little thing right here, and you get it." And make it harder and harder and harder to get, make a little solo plaything. I don't know. It's just strange to me that it's $10 and a lot of people are really angry about it.
I think, or echo. Anyway,
Huh?
I'm echoing on your end.
I don't hear it.
I do. But anyways, so I don't think the issue is really that it costs money. It's the amount of money. I I, I wouldn't mind paying something like maybe $1.99 or 99 cents for a reskin of a hero, but $10 is a ridiculous amount. And I really want Magnai Bronzebeard. I do. I would much rather be playing as him than Garrosh. Partly because I love the Alliance, and partly because he's a cool character. And I think Garrosh is kind of silly. But that's another matter.
I
But
think maybe $5 would be better. I mean, it's still a lot, but it's less.
I think 5 is still too expensive for a skin. It's basically a reskin, which is fine. I like the idea of being able to pick another warrior or paladin or mage or something like that, and I can play as my favorite hero instead of just being forced to play the one hero to give you. But paying $10, even $5 to me is too much. Maybe $1, maybe like the cost of one deck, which is $2.99.
Yeah.
Something like that would be much more reasonable to me. And I
Well,
don't
I
think
think they're trying to
this
base
out.
their model off of League of Legends because League of Legends, when you want to buy a skin, it's usually like $10 to reskin your character, and literally all you're doing is buying a skin that makes your character look just a little bit different. That is all you're paying for, and I think they're trying to follow that model.
The thing that I'm aware of League is typically the people who get the reskins, and get whatever it is they get in there. It tends to be the better players, and like it's a status symbol thing. Hearthstone is not set up that way. I mean, it's you playing against a random fucking person. There's no real tournament thing. Even when you're doing the rated matches, it's a random goddamn person. I mean, like if it was set up like Heroes of the Storm is, which is their which is kind of their copy of League. If it was set up that way, where hey, look, you can get this reskin, for $19.99, okay, that's like a status thing. This is just a visual change on your character portrait, and that's it. That's all it fucking. It does nothing for you.
It's too much.
It costs too much. Especially because the WoW community. I mean, yeah, we have battle pets and we have mounts, but this is just kind of silly to us, I would say.
Speaking of mounts, oh god, I'm sorry to even bring up World of Warcraft this time, but there are 6.2 previews already, and there's 2 new factions, and take a wild guess what you get from them. Jack fucking shit. It's all rep like you have to go kill shit and tan on over and over and over and over and over and over again. The only bonus here is that Blizzard has actually announced an actual reason to have something like Apex's Crystal, which is why Tanan is almost entirely Apex's grinds. Now, of course, that's still a big fuck you to the player base, because I don't know anyone who likes doing Apex's dailies. I really don't. I honestly do not know anybody who likes it. But
I stopped after the first month.
I keep doing them Because well, okay, I would have stopped doing everything but like the Shatrath ones because I want the rep with the factions associated with it. Um, but now in 6.2, Blizzard has announced basically everyone will be getting free epics. Like I think it was last week we talked about how the current Apex gear is going to be purchasable for gold. Well, they have released the new gear. It's 290 or so, something like that. It's currently what Mythic uh, uh, BlackRock Foundry is,
You mean 690?
something like that. Whatever it is. Anyway, it's pretty high item level and it's worth getting. And if you get, I think it's something like 60,000 apexes, which is the current cap. After 6.2, there will be no more cap, by the way. But if you get around 60k apexes shards, you can get all the gear. You can get all of it. Blizzard has said that, oh god, uh, all of your followers will be fucking useless come 6.2 because everything is shifting over to the naval missions. So, like, if you have a salvage yard or whatever in your garrison, and you have, 425 followers, and you have extra ones you can get, and if you have the inn, and blah, 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 try and get the things to um, switch over your followers so they're all uh, treasure finders, so you wind up getting money in from it, and the money and the gold can be used to buy, the now Apex's gear for your alts, which are going to be like 520,000 gold. It's ridiculous, but I'm glad that Blizzard finally um, gave a reason to have to get the Apex's crystals. So I'm gonna do it just to do it, just because it's really 15, 20 minutes out of my day to go do those stupid dailies.
Eh.
Well, I mean, they're not bad. I don't mind dailies. I'm one of those people who likes dailies. But I don't know.
I'm tired of dailies in general. I don't know.
I like dailies, I really do. But like to me, this log in. Oh look, you have a choice of one or two things, and God forbid you only get battled in Ashran because Ashran is fucking terrible. Oh God, I hate Ashran. I'm sorry. I'll be nice. Ashran is fun.
So much
Ashran is the nicest place in the game. I can't even do that. I can't even lie. I can't even lie. Ashran is a clusterfuck, and there is no way to uncluster the fuck that I have found right now. But yeah, I mean, it's honestly, I think Blizzard has kind of written off most of their games and stopped really caring about a lot of shit. And I
How do you
really,
go from Wintergrasp to Ashran?
Wintergrass is fun.
I know, but like, how do you go from having a good like world PvP like Wintergrasp, then go to Ashran? Like,
Well, okay.
who made that up?
The step between that you missed is uh uh blah, 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 Barrett and Hold or whatever the island, I forget.
What, Tolberard?
You what?
Tolberard?
Yeah, I think I couldn't think of it.
Well,
That
that's not awful, but it's just like the vanity of it wore off real quick.
it did, but you see, it at least offered. Okay, if Ashran had been what Tolbarad was, I would have been okay. You had the PvP area, and you can go there, and you can do PvP dailies when the battle's not going on. That would have been fine. That was cool. I got used to doing that. It wasn't that hard to do it. it wasn't like Ashran, where you're not Ashran, I'm sorry, Wintergrass, where you are permanently flagged. No, but Wintergrass had its uh, good points and bad points. The bad points is you're permanently flagged there no matter what you do. Tolbarad, you're not flagged unless the battleground is, unless the actual battle is going on, and it was fun. It was actually fun to do it, and they merged PVE and PvP really well with that. You had uh, the rest of the island, other than where the battleground itself was at, was just PvP funhouse. That's all it was. And then you get to uh, Mr. Pandaria, and we didn't really have that. There was no real area other than maybe the Timeless Isle.
Yeah, but that wasn't really PvP. And I think
Cursing Wilds for a little bit, maybe.
yeah, but it wasn't like this is a designated PvP area where there's a clear objective as to what you need to be doing. And
Well,
Ashran I just think is too big.
it's not really too big. It's okay. This was pointed out in the video that Taz from Hill versus Babyface uploaded, last night, I think, or this morning. Um, I'm not going to quote him word for word, but what he said is it's nothing more than an NPC fuckfest. That's all it is. That's all your garrison is. That's all this is. Little NPCs go out and do all your quests for you, and when you're in fucking Ashran, NPCs do all the fighting for you. And when you think about it, that's what's going on. The whole objective is you walking back and forth along the road, killing goddamn NPCs. The side objective is killing goddamn NPCs. You can summon goddamn NPCs, and you have to kill a goddamn NPC to win. Goddamn. It's my turn to say goddamn. Goddamn.
I think a lot of the problem that Ashran has is its actual overall design. If you look at it, well, yeah, but
It's the zone of stupidity.
Yes, but anyways, it's because
Tom Shelton lied to us.
Are you gonna let me talk?
Tom Shelton lied to us.
Yeah.
I honestly feel that BlizzCon, when they announced Ashran, was a lie.
Well, wait. But, okay, the problem is the actual design of the area. Because you have the main road, and then you have the side areas, and they are honestly completely unrelated.
They are.
There's no synergy with that. You can just, group up and then go smash whatever, or,
Did I just disconnect for 5 seconds?
I think you might have.
That was weird. It said the call had been dropped. It said the thing had been dropped, and I'm okay, whatever.
Yeah, hopefully we're still recording.
No, we're still live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still okay. Okay, that was weird.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Stop doing that. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So either you go down the main road, you smash your face against the Horde or Alliance for however long it takes, and hope you can overwhelm them, basically, or you go off to the side and try to do the side missions and hope that you can overwhelm them there. There's no real strategy. There's no real synergy. There's no real group communication or anything. It's just a mess.
Yeah, I noticed when I went in there was really no one was talking, no one was inviting anybody to groups, and people were just running around killing each other. And I was trying to do the intro quests, and I couldn't get them done because people just kept running up and killing me.
It was a little bit better at the very start. At the very start, it was a little more fun and a little more even, but I think I don't know what happened, but either everyone just stopped caring and left, or something happened because it just died. It just died.
Well, Blizzard has a way of killing its own things.
I miss actual PvP. I really and I hate to say this, but I miss actual raids. I mean, really, still the only boss fight that I am actually excited by is Blackgate. I hate everything in Blackrock Foundry. I hate everything in Highmall. It's disappointment and it's sad and and I'm disappointed in Blizzard. I mean this is the first time I'm actually saying it. I'm disappointed in Blizzard.
I think we're all a little disappointed.
You've let me down.
I I don't know. Warlords of Draenor has really just disappointed me because I was having fun leveling, so much fun, so excited, and then we get to the level 100 and there's just not much to do.
Yeah, now that I'm actually level 100, I noticed that I'm not playing as much. 'Cause there really isn't anything to do. Like, I get through all 7 LFRs in 2 days, and then nothing to do. And I'm like, okay, well, I could go level my other characters, or I could
Which
go
you've
do
been
something
doing.
else.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I got into doing the Iron Man challenge thing. And actually, this is a good point right here to go into the main topic. Because Iron Man is a superhero. But anyway, the Iron Man challenge is it's actually a challenge. And if you've been watching either the live stream when I'm doing it or the recorded version, you can see, what I have equipped is all I have. And
I think we lost him again.
damn it. Okay,
There we
that's
go.
annoying. That's seriously annoying.
You really
Boy,
gotta stop that.
I don't know what's going on. I really don't. But like that's the good thing of the it brings some of the challenge back into the game and some of the fun. But anyway, since I brought up Iron Man superhero thing, I think that's a good point right there to go into the main topic. Um, this past like this past week or so, the NSA, the National Security Agency, has been in the news. And everyone's kind of aware of what the government's doing, or is even more aware of it. And I think in a lot of ways, if we actually had real superheroes, people who were superpowered, or even someone who was Bruce Wayne, who had a lot of money and could hide and could make cool shit and then go fight crime. I think uh, if we actually had superheroes, that the NSA would be the biggest supervillain of them all.
I don't know about that. I mean, they did come into light that they weren't actually doing anything. But I wouldn't call them the biggest supervillain.
Uh,
Well, they're recording. Well, they were until the president decided to uh, allow it again. They were recording phone calls and text messages and emails of some 12 million people, I think.
Yeah, but that's just like spying. It's not like, I mean, we don't know for sure that they're not doing anything with it. But I mean, as far as we know, they're not selling people's information or doing anything with it. I mean, if we had superpowered people in the world, I think they'd probably think twice about that, because if you piss off the wrong person, you're going to get blasted into space. But as I don't know, I don't think that they're the biggest threat to the world. I think the world itself, like I think just people in general, are the world's biggest threat.
I find it really odd trying to place the idea of superheroes into the real world. Mostly because you would then have to place supervillains into the real world as well. which, I mean, I suppose the closest we could come to something like that might be maybe Israel, where they're constantly under attack sometimes, or something of that nature. But at least in America or most of Europe or something of that nature, we're not living under the constant threat of, oh my god, there's someone going to blow up the entire city.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if there were superpowered people in the world, that might be a problem. I mean,
Well,
I think that
yeah,
if there were, I think that there would be regulations. I think that there would be people monitoring that kind of thing. Like, I mean, they monitor like nuclear tests and rocket launches and all these different things. And I mean, they'd probably have to come up with a technology to measure like a spike in some kind of hormone that would give you like super abilities.
eh,
I mean, they'd be
I mean,
monitoring it.
they'd obviously be monitoring superheroes, have a persons of interest list, things of that nature,
Yeah,
because, they're outside the law, no one's holding them accountable. But it's just a really weird conversation to have because it's like we're there's no one outside my window right now throwing fireballs at houses or something,
that
and
you
that
know of.
No, you know of.
well, I mean, I'm looking
They might just
outside
be
right now.
really good at hiding it.
Possibly, I
Okay.
think I would be able to see a fire. Maybe, maybe it's magic fire. Maybe I
It could be
can't see it.
magic fire.
It could be. But
See,
anyways,
okay. Uh, what really made me think about it was I was, watching the news about the NSA and how they keep tabs on people. I got to thinking about the ending of Man of Steel. How the Air Force, wherever the hell it was, officer finds the crumpled up um, unmanned aerial vehicle, the spy plane thing, and
yeah.
he asked Superman, why can't we follow you? And he's like, did you really want to follow me? Would that be better? And it made me think about the line in The Dark Knight, where uh, Jim Gordon is on the roof of the MCU, and the bat signal's up there, and you had a little montage of all the uh, the people in the street who are looking up. They're like, oh shit, that signal, And Jim Gordon says to, I can't remember the woman's name. Uh, she asked him if he's going to come tonight, and Gordon says, I would rather he doesn't because I feel safer just knowing that he's out there. Like, if to me, if you put in a real world setting, which is what those two movies are supposed to be, how dangerous is it to just outright expose these people who are your protectors? I mean, we have, okay, for example, SEAL Team 6, the team that took down Osama bin Laden.
Mm-hmm.
Within like a month or so of that, we might not have known their names, but we knew their general ages. We knew their genders. We knew their race. We knew what they had done. We knew everything about it. And I mean, we live in a world where we have near continual coverage, just because, like the citizen reporter concept, it's sort of like us getting on here and talking about, stuff going on in movies. We're not, really reporters, but any 13-year-old, and this was pointed out in Dark Knight Rises, any kid with a cell phone can take a picture or take a video and put it on the internet and completely ruin somebody. So, like, if we live in that kind of world, what would happen if there are people out there who are secretive and they have to be secretive? They need to be. It is required. Like Batman. His alternate identity, or Superman. or the Flash or Daredevil or any of the X-Men. God damn, any of the X-Men in particular, because you're talking about people who, like Hank McCoy, he, excuse me, he can be a congressman, or you can have a doctor or a teacher, someone who's out there, and it's really frightening to me to think about that, because the world we live in right now, like, because this is relevant, somehow. Lena Dunham, uh, she's been brought up multiple times lately, because, well, this is unrelated to, I mean, the reason she's being brought up is because of the quote unquote connection to the Duggar family. Uh, but think about that for a second. Their family was outed by some unknown individual, and we're talking about something that was intensely private that no one knew about and no one should have known about because it was it was Josh Duggar's um, juvenile record. Like I was going to say with Lena Dunham, she outed her sister for being a lesbian. I mean, just outright said it. I mean, we live in a world where people do shit like that, where we can't really have a private life, and it's weird, like Nick said, to have a discussion about it, but the real world implications to me of what would happen if we had, say, a mutant registration act, or we had um, a, 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 a mask law like they have in Watchmen or something like that. That's scary to me.
It's one of the okay, like in Marvel Civil War, right? One of the interesting things in the comics was, and some people thought the way the hero split was a little uncharacteristic of them, which was a big criticism. Like, Mr. Fantastic sided with the pro registration, even though in past issues he's been against registering of that type for other things. But one of the really interesting things was the anti-registration heroes tended to be the poor ones, the more vulnerable ones, like Daredevil, even Spider-Man eventually, Captain America.
Anti-registration.
Huh?
Captain America's anti-registration.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're the anti-registration. The those were
What's that?
the poor heroes. Those were the ones that were not well off, the street heroes, quote unquote. The pro registration heroes were the rich ones, the Fantastic Four, at least originally most of them. Ant-Man, Mr. Um, Iron Man, so on and so forth. It was a really interesting socio-economic split because the poor heroes were anti-registration, the rich heroes were for registration.
I think that's how it would be like if they were real too.
Yeah,
Like,
because if you have the money, you can protect yourself. You can hire bodyguards. You can have expensive homes that are
kind of
well
like
defended.
celebrities. Like celebrities can protect themselves. Like normal citizens who like end up on the news for something, they can't protect themselves.
Hmm. Which is a problem that a lot of minor celebrities have. Um, like Felicia Day when she was stalked, she's not a big celebrity. She can't afford the protection that a big celebrity might have.
Well, I mean, she's a little bigger now that she got on Supernatural and she's actually on TV stuff. But I mean, yeah, like she can't afford that kind of thing. And superheroes and like not like superheroes, but like powered people, people with abilities, they would have to go on these registrations. And these registrations, like with the way the world is today, we can hack pretty much everything, and that information would be online so fast. Those
Exactly.
people would be unprotected. So they would have to do it in a way that you didn't identify them directly. You just like were like, this is this power. This is what we're monitoring. It would
Even
have to be kept under such tight wraps, though.
it would be impossible to do and to protect them. You would basically have to make them an army at that point. Keep them on bases. Keep them basically in internment camps.
And then
Things
it would
like
get
that.
to like a captivity thing, and no one would want to register.
hmm
It would get bad. But I
It,
mean,
I
that's
think
just the world we live in. Like, that's what would have to happen.
and this was one of the biggest problems with the actual comic of Marvel Civil War, which makes me question if they're actually going to try to do the Registration Act in the movie, is because according to Marvel's chief editor, we were supposed to side with the pro-registration people. Now, comic readers and the general populace pretty much all rejected that, and I know at least when I was reading comments and things, very, very few people sided with Iron Man and pro-registration, especially with how he was portrayed in the comic. He,
Yeah.
he was portrayed
that's
as
funny.
just a total tyrannical asshole.
That's that relates to what I was going to bring up. Like when you said that it's the richer ones who can afford to protect themselves, which is odd because Tony Stark's entire career is telling the government to go fuck itself. Literally, everything he says to the government, especially in the movies, is I'm here. You can't have my information. I'm not going to give it to you. Go on and sit and spin.
It
Like,
is the weirdest character shift of almost any of the comic characters, and it's
like
why Civil War is so criticized. Tony Stark
the
just seems to go batshit crazy, basically, and be like, "I'm going to take over Shield and do all this stuff."
the only way that I can justify it, at least in the movie, is excuse me, you know how in the Avengers, he decides to decrypt all of Shield's files, and he's running this little program, and he's like, soon I want to know everything they know. Um,
Well, that was
I think,
Fury, but wasn't it?
well, moot point. Anyway, I
Yeah.
think that in a lot of ways, um, with the information, that Tony wound up uncovering, clearly, Shield has been compromised. They've been compromised for a long time, and the government has got a lot of problems, which is kind of what happened in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Um,
Mhm.
I think what, at least movie-wise, I think the reason that he would take a different stance is he's realized, you know, okay,
Well, yeah, that he can do a better job, basically, right?
no, not just that, but I think I think he's probably realized. Okay, the only thing I can possibly foresee happening here is whenever he got into Shield's database, he realized we're not the only ones out there. And you see that kind of hinted at, like in Agents of Shield. Uh, I think Danny mentioned this earlier, but they have the registry thing, and since like X-Men is supposed to tie into this too, there are people. I can't think of his name. Trask. Uh, he keeps track of mutants,
hmm
and it's kind of creepy. So I mean, like if Oliver Trask is keeping track of mutants, and the government, Shield, which is not supposed to be the government, but we all know they're the government, because it's very, very, very heavily hinted at in the movie that this is the government watching the average individual. Hint, hint. Um, I think Tony Stark realized uh, the depth of the knowledge the government actually has. And I think rather than, go around, giving the finger and saying, fuck you, I think instead what he decided to do was just play along
Well,
or
yeah,
use.
and again, this is one of the weirdest things in the comic. Have you ever seen or looked at any of the comic?
Uh, like I know the story, but I've never read. I never read it.
Okay, one of the weirdest things is at the very end of the war, right? After Captain America surrendered and all blah blah blah. And the anti-registration people went into hiding, or Canada, or whatever. Um, One of the very weirdest things is Tony Stark becomes the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. And as the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., he kind of goes, yeah, my plan all along was to keep everyone's identity secret, and that I'm going to protect it, you know, because he didn't trust anyone in the government. And one of the, it's just so weird because they go through all this fighting and this battles and everything, and it's like, well, why didn't you just tell them that in the beginning?
Well, that would defeat the purpose of having a story now, wouldn't it?
It,
It,
it, it literally would have just solved all the problems, and it's just, I don't know, it's such a weird story, and I don't know, I'm hoping they deviate very heavily from the story, honestly, in the movie. I'm
well,
hoping
okay.
that they give them a actual reason to fight.
Um, I think there's clearly a reason, at least between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. There is a lot of animosity between those two. A lot. Uh,
Obviously. But
I mean, like,
they're not gonna
what?
start a war. I don't think they're gonna start a war because they disagree with each other. Just,
I don't know. I mean, like Tony Stark has got a pretty hostile personality, honestly. But
yeah.
I mean, it's weird.
I mean, they might trade blows, but you know, I mean,
It's weird, at least the way that Marv was setting it up. But I mean, okay, DC's take on the whole thing. Uh, I mean, number one example for DC is of course Watchmen. You know, the idea of who will watch the Watchers.
yeah.
Excuse me, but that Registration Act had basically the same result. It outlawed costume superheroes. You know, and tried to force uh, the world to accept. You know, these uh, just let the police and everything take over, and you see exactly what happened without letting the superheroes help. And of course, it was all in response, to this godlike entity who is just a human being. I mean, he's uh, um, uh, I just went blank. I'm sorry. Uh, Doctor Manhattan is just a human being. I mean, he's clearly changed, but he's not really a threat. The threat happens to be Ozymandias, who tries to trick the entire world into thinking that they're all going to die in a nuclear explosion, when in reality, he's trying to protect everybody from an alien invasion. Now, if everything that he was doing was public, now, and I realize, Ozymandias is the villain in this. So I know he is. There's no question about it. And they even show that in the movie version of it. Um, but what would happen if uh, the world was supposed to know what Ozymandias was doing, and they were allowed to know very freely? Like all the information he had became public knowledge. What happened then?
Mm,
I don't
I mean,
know.
there's there's definitely some really odd story. If you really sit down and think about some of these stories and try to place them in the real world, there's some really odd points where you're just like, this doesn't really particularly make sense. And
Well, I mean, they can't just spend all of their time trying to explain it rationally. I mean,
well, no,
superheroes and comic books exist in a world where there's already so much fiction, or we're supposed to take stuff at face value.
yeah, which I'm perfectly fine with. I'm perfectly fine with suspending my, beliefs or, sense of reality and, just, oh cool, that guy can fly and save the world. Awesome. But when the way they're trying to make the stories now, which is to make them super realistic or put them in the real world, and they've always related issues in stories before, in comic stories before. That's never been an issue. But when you try to make everything super realistic and everything makes sense, you come into these really serious problems of, well, why didn't they just do that? Or why don't they just tell people? Or, things like that.
Well, that's their plot holes. It's really all it is.
And, I mean, I don't know, they're just really big plot holes sometimes, and it's just...
Oh no, they're huge plot holes, and they kind of take away from the story. But I mean, I don't know.
Like, I'm still wondering, with Batman versus Superman, why exactly are they fighting in the first place? Is there a
Well,
is Bruce... Like, I know in the comic, which wasn't a canon comic either, it was just, just something they decided, one of the writers decided to do. And it was cool, and it was fun, and that's fine. But I believe that this is going to be canon for the DC Universe, isn't it?
it is. And do you remember one of the earlier shows where we discussed it, and I brought up the fact that Batman is the only person who can take on Superman?
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I'm still
I,
confused about why exactly he's fighting him other than just to fight him.
well, okay, I think, um, okay,
It,
Batman's already pre-established. Well, like, we know
it,
Batman has been Batmaning for some point in time in this movie, and I think
is Lex
what
Luthor going to trick Bruce Wayne into fighting him?
I don't know. Um,
Because I would
like,
have an issue with that, and I'm not even a huge Batman fan. The fact that Lex Luthor can trick Bruce Wayne into fighting Superman, that seems very iffy to me.
I
all I
mean,
can,
they'll make a point to try and explain it in the movie, but it's weird because like when we talk about superheroes, we don't just talk about their powers. We talk about like their superior intelligence. And Bruce Wayne isn't a stupid person. He really isn't. He's a genius to do everything that he's doing. So the idea that he can be so easily tricked into fighting somebody else, it's
Because
outside of the realm of their
the,
reality.
the general impression I've gotten from the trailers and what I've seen and heard is that Lex Luthor is the ultimate bad guy at the end of the movie. And, I'm guessing Batman and Superman are going to team up and take him down or something.
I think,
Yeah, but why are they fighting? Like, why is I mean, I
Yeah,
get that like people want to see like who would win in a fight, this guy or this guy, but it's weird to try and put it in a canon place where it's like, okay, this is why they are really going out, and this is exactly why that they're fighting each other. But like, why? Like, if you look at movies and like cartoons and stuff where they're crossed over and like everyone's working together, like in the Justice League, like Bruce and Clark, like, they get along fine. Like, they disagree over things, but they would never, I don't think that there would ever be something that they would really come to blows over. So I don't really know what Lex Luthor would do that would make them cross that line.
I think what's going to happen, I mean, and this is speculation here. I'm kind of like Nick. I think there is a reason that Batman has stepped up and is going to challenge Superman. Now, the most logical option to me is that someone is trying to make Superman be the bad guy. Um, maybe.
I can definitely see Lex Luthor trying to do that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you hear Luther in the trailer, saying that we all thought the devils would come from below us, but in reality they come from above us.
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen is, I mean, you already know that there's people who are out for blood for Superman because of all the destruction that was caused in Man of Steel. So maybe, just maybe, Batman gets involved, because he's the only person again who can stop Superman in case Superman is really, really being evil. And it's been hinted at that Doomsday will be showing up in this movie. Now, I can't confirm it. It was just in some.
Like
You're
like
right.
the way Marvel's been doing with what's his name, or
Yes, Thanos. Uh,
so
it's it it
a
it's been
Thanos.
hinted that Doomsday will show up. Now, the thing that most people don't know about Doomsday is Doomsday has an actual backstory. He's not just some vicious monster who shows up.
Yeah.
Doomsday is actually a Kryptonian, and he was experimented upon. And what could possibly happen after Man of Steel? Lex Luthor, who wants to have all this technology and stuff. Well, gee, look at that, laying in the middle of Metropolis, a dead fucking Kryptonian in the body of General Zod. Now, the reason I bring this up is the actor who portrayed Zod. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I'm sorry. He has shown up on set. There are pictures of him on set for Batman vs Superman. Now, that indicates maybe Batman's responding to a possible alien invasion. Maybe, because we don't know how many other Kryptonians there are. Maybe he's the only person who's able to say, "Hey, I'll stand up and I'll try and put a stop to this." Or there could be the only other alternative I can think of is that all this stuff's going on, and Batman, wants to understand, you know, what Superman's all about, and that's why he finally, and that's why he tracks him down, and the line, "Do you bleed?" You're about to is like Batman saying, "Hey, I'm humanity. Come fuck with me.
I
We're gonna work this out."
I mean that's cool and all, but and I'm all for machismo and having fun and being macho. I'm not trying to downplay that, but that is the most macho bullshit I have ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
It's likely. I don't know. I mean, I can really only speculate over what's like what's been announced for this one. That's in the trailer and all these theories and things. I mean, it's weird, and
And
I know.
well,
I
I think this is one of DC's biggest problems with this movie, and I've told you this before, is I feel like there's a movie missing here, at least one. I feel like I just don't understand why all of a sudden they're jumping into Batman and Superman fighting. And I know they're established characters, I know they don't really need to establish them that much, but it's just bad storytelling to me at this point. Because I have no idea why they're picking a fight with each other at this point.
Okay, well, there's a something I happen to have noticed. Because the same Batmobile and the same Batsuit have been shown to be in, and I do not mean what I'm going to go ahead and call the Suit Buster. You know, like his armored suit, Batman's armored suit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have been shown to be in Suicide Squad
Yeah,
and
I mean, they should
just
be if they're gonna
yeah.
be canon.
I mean, it's the same Batman, same Batmobile, which to me means that that's the same movie universe.
Yeah,
And
it feels like
and
they're trying to make the movie universe just like Marvel's been doing. They're late on
yeah,
the cut, but I mean, the
well, okay. Well, see, Suicide Squad, like, and I'm probably about to butcher their storyline. If I do, I'm sorry. The idea is they're all forced together and they all have to go attack something. And in Suicide Squad, off the top of my head, Joker, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and Deadshot, I think, all show up, plus X number of other individuals. And
Captain
they're all
Boomerang, and there's a few
and
others.
what?
Captain Boomerang and a few others.
Yeah, there were some leaked shots of what looked like alien soldiers. Maybe these are alien soldiers from Krypton. Maybe these are minions of Doomsday. I don't know. I mean, like, Suicide Squad and Dawn of Justice will tie in together somehow. And I mean, it's nothing but speculation. But I'm thinking, you know, because Dawn of Justice comes out uh, when?
I'm not sure. I know it's right around Civil War.
Yeah.
Sometime next year. Well, anyway, they're coming out around the same time, or some months apart. But anyway, like, thinking about it kind of makes me wonder. I mean, if they're going to be tied together, maybe whatever happens in Suicide Squad is a, I guess, side story to what happens in Dawn of Justice, or vice versa, and maybe Batman's realized, oh hey, here's the Joker, here's Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, everyone else who is in his rogues gallery or kind of shares the rogues gallery with him. Maybe there's these people who are clearly out to do some kind of damage to somebody are there. And look, the only other person who seems to have a superpower right now, other than me, is this asshole flying around that everyone lets off the planet, and I'm gonna go talk to him. And if that's what's going on, because like the whole idea, Dawn of Justice, it has to be alluding to the beginning of the Justice League. It has to be. There's no other way,
Obviously.
there's no other reason I can think of that would have that title.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious they're going for the Justice League. Also, it's March 25th, 2016.
And okay, that's Suicide Squad, right? Or is that
No,
Dawn?
that's Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. It comes first.
Okay,
Suicide
here we go.
Squad comes August 5th. So it's like 4 months later.
Wait, August of this year?
No, next year. They're both next
Oh,
year.
okay. Well, okay. They're going to be tied in, and that's. I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's
Well, I mean, it's obvious that they're going for the Justice League. They pretty much have to go for the Justice League because of the success of the Avengers movies. There's no question of that. The only the only weird part is just why are they fighting suddenly? It's a very odd thing.
well. See,
Well,
that's
like
what.
they need to really explain that before they can really do the movies. Because if you don't explain that, then you're there's so much missing then.
Oh, I see when the Justice League movie is actually scheduled to.
See, I think maybe
That's in 2017 in November.
that's why they're not going to fight. I think it's Batman is trying to find Superman. He's like, hey, you're
Oh no,
here.
they're
People
they're
don't want you here. but people also don't want me here.
If they don't fight, there's going to be so much rage from DC fans or just the general public that it will completely ruin the entire DC universe if they
Hmm.
don't fight. They have shoehorned themselves into this just by the name Batman versus Superman. They literally have to fight.
But there has to be good reason. Like it can't just be, oh look, it's the superhero movie you guys wanted. They're fighting. There has to be a clear reason, because if you don't have a clear reason and they're just fighting, you're gonna make people mad. It's like, oh hey, we got what we wanted. They're fighting, but there's no reason. They're just fighting,
It's going to be
and
a terrible movie.
it's gonna be bad. Like there needs to be a reason and there needs to be a good story. They've dug themselves a hole because they're like in the title, it's Batman versus Superman, and it's like, but there has to be a good reason. Otherwise, they're gonna destroy the movie, and people are just gonna be pissed.
Okay, so I'm looking at DC's timeline right now for movies. Um, Next year, in March, they have Batman vs. Superman, then Suicide Squad, then in 2017, they have Wonder Woman, and then they go to Justice League.
Ooh,
Okay,
Superwoman. That sounds good.
here's the confusing part of this. It's already established fact that Wonder Woman and motherfucking Aquaman will be showing up in Dawn of Justice. So we're going to have to wait a whole year to see the Justice League, and in between there, we get, oh look, Wonder Woman gets her own movie.
Yeah, the other heroes don't get their own movie till after Justice League. The Flash and Aquaman are both in 2018, and then Shazam is in 2019, Justice League Part 2, and then in 2020 there's Green Lantern and Cyborg. At least so far, what's scheduled.
Okay, so that means the Justice League lineup, excuse me, for the movie universe, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman,
No, no,
Shazam.
it's Batman versus Superman, then Suicide Squad, then Wonder
No, no,
Woman.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about, okay, there was a Twitter hashtag a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Jason, I'm fixing to butcher his name. Jason Momoa, who's playing Aquaman, unites the
Like,
seven.
yeah, Unite
So
this.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out in my head who it's going to be. So Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, obviously, those are there, and then Shazam, Cyborg, and Green Lantern.
And there's
That's
the Flash.
okay. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the Flash, which is the main five that everyone knows, like they're almost permanent members, and then Shazam, Cyborg, and Green Lantern. So that's
8.
eight.
Yeah,
That's eight.
yeah.
Weird. Okay. What about Martian Manhunter? God damn it! I want
I
to see Martian Manhunter brought into. I mean, in the original comic universe, he was not there, but he's there as a founding member in New 52, and I like him. He is almost questionably, well, not even questionably, he is pretty much the most powerful Marvel Comics. I'm sorry, DC Comics character. I mean, he's next to God in what he can do, and I would like to see him in a movie.
It seems like they're replacing him with Cyborg.
Yeah, but Cyborg's story isn't that good. I mean, I like Cyborg, but his story's it's kind of boring.
It's not like as it. I
Hmm.
mean, I like Cyborg, but he's not what I would consider a main superhero when I think of DC.
No, he's really a background character.
And if we're thinking of like a character just, well, I mean, because obviously there's kind of a large lack of diversity in the main setting for Justice League, but I would rather have Static Shock, honestly. even though I
I'd rather
hate the
see more
actor name.
female superheroes, to be honest. I mean, it's not a sexist thing, it really isn't. I just think that there aren't enough role models for girls. And I mean, a big
There
part of
isn't.
the community is female, and I think that they would do well to represent that part of the fandom well. And I mean, just like the female characters they have now are okay, but none of them stand out as much as like Batman and Superman. I mean, we have Wonder Woman, but I mean, if you look at the game Injustice, she turns into a damsel in distress, and she's supposed to be one of the strongest people on Earth, and she's
Wonder
so quickly a damsel. Like, it's just disappointing that they don't represent their entire community.
Wonder Woman is one of the weirdest characters in comic history just because of the way the writers treat her. If you go from writer to writer, she radically changes with each writer, and I mean radically, even for a comic book hero.
And I
It's
mean, that happens a lot with superheroes. Like, they retell the
no,
story and they're different, but she
no,
is
no. I
like,
mean, yeah, her in particular, her change is just so kind of ridiculous. And one of them, she's a spy, and one of them, she's super independent and a warrior, and one of them, she's a damsel in distress for most of it.
And her only weakness is being chained up by a man.
Yeah,
it's just annoying.
it's that's probably one of my biggest criticisms of DC's universe is that there's not a lot of great female characters.
And I mean, again, it's not a sexist thing. It's just like I think that the community would do well with having a really good role model who was a woman who didn't need to be rescued, who could take care of herself and like could take care of the rest of the world around her.
Yeah, and have you seen the updated, like the grown-up version of Starfire from Teen
Mhm.
Titans?
I don't like her.
It's, I mean, I understand being a sexually liberated woman is cool, and I have no problem with that. But it's just the way, I don't know, there's just something, she looks like a male fantasy to me rather than a sexually liberated woman.
Yeah, she does. And I mean, Raven's pretty good, but she's glossed over.
Yeah,
Well, see, okay, like the weird thing for Raven for me is who was it? Who was it? Who was it? The villain that was in the Teen Titans. Most people seem to have overlooked this, but it was the villain in Deadshot. I think it was. Anyway,
uh,
whoever it was uh, said something about being her, like she's the daughter of the devil and something like that. And then
yeah.
and then he said something weird about like my dad wants me to do something. Or so, anyway, he strips her
Yeah.
for her dad. And like thinking about that, that's I mean it, it's not really rape, but it's really subtly shoved in there. He's
It's
doing
really rape.
something against
It's
her
really
will.
rapey.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they explored the idea, but it's too much, I think. Especially because at that point
Particularly
she's
because
young.
particularly because she's supposed to be like 14.
Yeah, that's the most disturbing part. She's supposed to be so young, and it's like right in your face. It's like here they're taking advantage of her, and it's like, you can portray a female character without having her raped. Like, it can happen.
Yeah, it's an issue for me for a lot of stories, a lot of women's stories. It's that a lot of the time there's just sexual assault or
Yeah, a lot
they,
of the time the sexual assault is what drives them to do, whatever. But I think that there should be something else. Like, women can have tragic backstories too. Like, their parents can die just as easily as anybody else can.
yeah,
How
or uh
how about Oracle? Barbara Gordon.
Okay, she's good, yeah, but
except
she's
it's
glossed
also
over.
suggested that the Joker may have raped her when he
No.
paralyzed.
The Joker did not rape her. The Joker
I've
into
read a lot
he
of things.
walked into her house. She was sitting there with Jim Gordon, her dad, talking to him. The Joker knocks on the door. She answers the door. Boom! Shoots her. Like it was in front of, and it was all to fuck with Jim Gordon. But since then, I mean, she was already Batgirl, you know, but now she's gone on to become Oracle, and she's probably the most badass character that I can think of that's female in DC, and that's
Except
including every female character.
Yeah,
then
but
they
again,
took
she's
that,
glossed over.
and then they took that away from her too because now she's Batgirl again. Because they healed her. Yay!
You mean the New 52 storyline?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Which goes
It's
back
like
to
they
my
make
point
these
about
characters and they give them this really good development, and then they take it back because they want it to be like heartwarming or whatever have you. And it's like that's what made her how she was. So why are you taking it away?
hey, look, it's what exactly I talked about on our last show.
It is. That's weird. Huh.
I was right.
Awkward silence. Well, see, okay.
Because you
That's
can't
kind of
believe
why
I
I
was right.
hope. That's kind of why I hope. Okay, like what I've seen of Harley Quinn for the Suicide Squad, I like her. I really do like her. I have really high hopes that they're going to portray her. I mean, there's no way to deny that they're obviously going to be showing the abusive relationship, but from like what was quote unquote leaked, you see her standing up to the Joker, and that's cool. And I sincerely hope that when they bring Wonder Woman in Dawn of Justice, that they do her justice. No pun intended. I hope that they make her a strong character, and but like the general perception is she's just going to be thrown in there, you know. But like on the other side of the coin with Marvel, you basically just get Black Widow, and she's there for tits and ass. In fact,
Well,
her intro story, excuse me, her intro story in the Avengers, you know, where you see her being interrogated by the Russian dude, the guy who wrote the screenplay for the movie came up with that when he was 14 or so, and it was like his little wet dream type thing. So basically, you have an on-screen version of a woman who's being mistreated by several men as a fantasy of a 14-year-old.
well, Marvel actually had. Echo?
It's better now.
There we go. Sean, fix your mic. Anyways.
Yeah, bro.
Marvel actually has more female superheroes coming up. It's just we won't see them until 2017. There's an untitled female superhero scheduled. There's Miss Marvel, or I'm sorry, Captain Marvel. There's I don't know if I saw another one. Oh yeah, there's a Fantastic Four. There's Guardians of the Galaxy again.
Well, yeah, I mean, but those
And
female
then there's
characters are generally portrayed as the eye candy. Like in the original Fantastic Four, she's naked in a crowd of people. Like,
oh, that was a terrible movie. Inhumans, and then there's X-Men. So there's actually a couple of female heroes coming up for Marvel. It's just we're not going to see them for a long time.
Which means
yeah, and I hope that they're
effectively
done right, though. Like, if they're not done right, then it defeats the purpose of having them. And, like, they need to be just as strong as their male counterparts.
Obviously. But again, actually, you'll see the first Marvel female superhero before you see DC Wonder Woman. So it's yeah, there definitely needs to be more female heroes portrayed on the big screen.
But they really do.
See, we already have the first Marvel superhero. Like I said, it's uh, Black Widow. And no, wait.
I'm really wondering who this mysterious untitled female superhero is going to be.
I have to bring it up because I know it will piss you off, Nick. Supergirl. Supergirl.
That stupid battle music. God.
This is my flight suck. Yeah, that's your go-to hero,
pisses me off so much. Because the action. No. It pisses me off because the action scenes right then at that moment are they look so cool. She looks so badass. She looks really heroic. And then they play that goddamn pop song on top of it. This is my fight song. I'm like, no. Like, why? Like, it pisses me off.
See, okay, like what bothers me about it is she's a carbon goddamn copy of Superman. Literally. Like, action for action, pose for everything she does, except for being blonde hair, blue-eyed, and having big tits. She's Superman.
Yeah.
And honestly, she fails at being Superman. Really, I'm sorry. At least what I have seen in the 2-minute long trailer, even though you have Callista Flockhart looking like a nightmare in this, really, I'm sorry. It took me the longest time to realize that's who that was. Evidently, being married to Han Solo is not working out for her. Jeez. Anyway, she kind of fails at being a copy of Superman on the show. Because, I mean, like, now, I mean, again, we only have, like the 2-minute, whatever long thing it is. But you see her, she's like, I'm a little girl. I'm nice to be here. You're like 30 years old. Stop acting like you're 12.
Well, it depends on the story they portray, because there's a couple of different versions of Supergirl. In one, she's been frozen in stasis for a long time, so she's only really 14. Or 16, I don't know, however old she is in this. But if they actually are portraying her as a 30-year-old and she's acting like that, my god, I will be even more pissed.
This one, just, like, judging by general appearance and everything, she seems to be...
I'm guessing 20, 21, 22.
Maybe 24. Maybe. And just like the way they have her show, it just... Well, it's like, I'm a little girl kid, this is Beverly Hills 90210 or some other show that's designed to get teenage girls, and I kind of think maybe what she'll do is have that upper, Valley Girl thing, and we'll start bobbing her head.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, I'm sorry. They made her seem ditzy. And I realize, there's supposed to be a drastic difference between Supergirl and Kara. I get that. You're supposed to do that. But, like, why is she just like this little bubbly, happy person when she's Supergirl? I mean, when she's Kara, and then, oh no, look, a puppy's trapped in a tree. I'm sad. That's what I got out of it. That's what I got out of it. It's like there's bad stuff on the news, and she just kind of like it's really, can a young woman on a fucking TV show do anything else other than being hello?
And then I was even annoyed at her introduction into being Supergirl when the plane's coming down, and instead of her reaction, oh, I should go save that plane, and circumstances, huh? Yeah, she's like, what flight is that? She's like, oh no, I have to save it because my
Friends on
sister's on
that
there.
one. What do I do? Oh, gee, I can fly faster than a speeding bullet. I'm more powerful than a locomotive, but I'm gonna sit here and wonder. Oh no! What do I go save them? Get off your
But I mean,
ass!
that's what I mean. They make the female characters so bad. Like they make the males really strong and masculine, and I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, they should have more than one personality trait here, but I mean, women should be just portrayed better.
I actually like how Black Widow's portrayed personality-wise, but they overshadow her so much, and she just she gets such little screen time. There is no excuse that they can't make a Black Widow movie, and it would be good. It would be. I would go see it, and
Okay.
not just for TNA, not just for T. I want to see a Black Widow movie
Yeah,
where
I'd like to
she
see
is
a
a
Black
hero.
Widow movie because she is badass. Like she really is. But I want them to portray her as that, not just as like this ditzy girl. Because like I feel like they like
Like her
in
attitude.
Avengers, like the relationship between the Hulk, just that was forced and it was disgusting and it was like why it didn't need to happen.
It,
Okay. What I get out of Black Widow is, um, she's the stereotype of the oversexualized, snarky bitch. That's what she represents. I'm
I'm
sorry.
o-
It's what
I'm
she
okay with
represents.
I'm okay with that just purely
I mean,
because I'm okay with it just purely because it's something else than a damsel in distress or the
is it really
ditzy
something else though?
California girl.
Is it really something else though? Because literally, she's introduced in the Avengers as being tied up and being threatened by people.
But it's
That's true.
clear but it's clear that
I
she's
mean,
in control there. It's clear that she's in control there. She's not in any real danger, and we know that.
but you don't know that until she answers the phone. You don't realize, oh, she's got this until she's. I mean, it's like a man has to call her and tell her that he needs her, and she's like, oh,
I would
okay.
I would disagree. I disagree with that one. I don't think that one was.
Yeah, I don't think
I
that one was too bad because I mean, you think, oh wow, this is just going to be another one of those. She's just, a damsel in distress, but then it's like, oh no, you can do it your thing, and then she just goes and
Yeah, she just goes and totally takes control of the situation because obviously she was just playing dummy or playing possum the entire time. And I mean,
But
that's
it's only
part.
after
Well,
she met a woman.
but that's part of her character as being a spy. I mean, she's a spy. She's supposed to be able to trick people
yeah,
and play
that
possum
instance it's acceptable. I mean, it's not great, but it's acceptable.
because she's a literal spy. That's basically her superpower is being one of the best spies in the entire world. So,
She's Electra minus the size, basically.
huh?
I said she's Electra minus the size.
Yeah, basically. She. So
And,
I'm
we,
a.
now, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I was expecting you to be like, Electra. Damn it! He did it to me. He made me acknowledge it.
No, no. I'm going to acknowledge Elektra. I'm going to acknowledge Elektra exists. And hope that they give a better Elektra in the new Daredevil season. I hope. I pray. Please, God. Uh,
So you're saying that it's possible to have a better Electra than Jennifer Garner?
a better Elektra movie.
You didn't like that movie?
That movie was absolutely terrible. And you know it was terrible in
I
every
thought,
goddamn way.
I didn't even watch it.
well, I thought you liked the Electra movie. You know what? Yeah, like really, what we're getting with Supergirl, and like I said, she's a carbon copy of Superman. and it doesn't even work. I mean, like, the
Except that she's ditzy and completely useless.
Yeah.
so it's Clark Kent. That's exactly what Clark. I mean, like, he's a fucking dumbass. 99% of the time, it's Clark Kent, and then and then all you do is you. I mean, okay,
But
you have Clark Kent.
at least if he sees a disaster, he doesn't go, "What's going on?" He's like, "I have to go for a second. I'll be back."
He does do that. I mean, like, he's famous for mysteriously disappearing. When all this bad stuff's going on. But it's always understandable. And I think the only time that is, I can't really remember when it's been referenced. But like maybe he stood there for a couple seconds and thought, you know, maybe because where I'm at it's very highly visible, maybe I shouldn't go. But he always goes. Like, I mean, it's like, oh, 3, 2, 1, up and away. It's like that with him. But what you saw in the advertisement for Supergirl is, oh no, the plane's crashing. Is my friend on it? I'm sad.
And it's pathetic, and it shouldn't be pathetic. When you think of a superhero movie, it shouldn't. The hero shouldn't be pathetic, and she's pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if she was having trouble coming to terms with her powers, I could understand going, should I save them? I don't know. But no, she acknowledges it from the word go. Even her roommate is aware of it. Like, her sister, wherever she is, knows that this blonde chick right here, with the tits and the ass and the blonde hair and the blue eyes, she's not from Earth. She's not from Earth. She is Superman's goddamn cousin. You see him on TV flying around, and you look at her and you're like, oh, look, you're him with a blonde wig. Go save the world. But no, I don't know if I should. Do I need to get a job? I'm sad. That's all I really get from her. And
I think the weirdest thing was, yeah, I mean, I think the weirdest thing was at the very start when they're like, "But I want the world to see me," and
go! Fly! You can fucking fly! You can shoot laser beams from your eyes. You can pick shit up that no one can. You could, goddamn, go do it. But no. But I'm sad. What do I do? I need to have someone tell me. And who does she have to have tell her? A man!
although I think, to be fair, it's just as bad as when Clark's father in Man of Steel is like, "You must stay hidden because no one can know about you," or whatever, or that stupid goddamn tornado scene where he's like, "No, let me do it," and it's like, literally, like, why? Like, he can open the door so easily. He can get the dog so easily. It it
It's
drives
just
me insane.
pathetic, though. It's just so pathetic. It's like you don't have to make the heroes pathetic. Like, we get it. They have some kind of like emotion and they have some humanity in them. Like, we're making them relatable, but making them god awful stupid doesn't like make them relatable. It makes them frustrating.
Yeah, it's like there were so many ways to fix it where he can rescue his dad in that tornado scene. And it's like you're just watching the movie and you're like, really? You just let him die? Really?
The tornado thing is something that I had to stop and think. I mean, I get why they did it. It's really, really, really reaching for, like the Spider-Man thing. With great power comes a great responsibility. It's like his dad saying, sometimes a single person is not worth it. Sometimes you need to make a choice. You need to stop and think, is this for the greater good? Like, for example,
It's so poorly done. It's so poorly done.
It is poorly done. It makes you go, oh, well, why didn't you do that? That's stupid. Like,
At
I mean,
least with Spider-Man and Uncle Ben, he isn't there. He isn't there, and that's the part of the whole issue is that he wasn't there. But he isn't there, so he's not physically capable of, webbing the mugger before he shoots his uncle or something.
mm-hmm.
like I mean, it's the idea that sometimes you need to make a rational choice, and I think it's it. Okay, okay. I got from that the same message that I got in uh, the Dark Knight when Harvey Dent and Rachel Dawes were going to be blown up by the Joker. I got the same message out of that, except Dark Knight did it better.
Much
Did
better,
it
because
better.
you
Like,
actually
I mean,
because there's no reason that he can save both of them. He can't. He physically can't save both of them. In the
Yeah,
he
and
super,
it makes you
whatever you
sad.
want.
Like, you feel for him in that instance where it's like, oh wow, this was a situation that he didn't have control over and he literally couldn't do anything.
yeah, in the Superman case, it's so stupid because number one, why didn't he open the car door in the first place? Because he has super strength and he can easily open the car door, even if it's jammed. Number two, I'm pretty sure that he could have saved his father, and people would have just been like, there's a freaking tornado going on.
It would have been easy. I mean, I realize, depending on which version of the story you're looking at, Jonathan Kent is dead. I get that, but it would have been stupidly easy to say it was a mass hallucination by people. Someone thought they saw someone pick up a car or whatever in a tornado and save somebody, and then they told that, and it was so believable. Because your emotions are high. You could have done that. You could have done. But that's why I think the Dark Knight did it so much better. What you have there is no way, absolutely no way, that Batman could have saved Rachel and Harvey. No way.
Exactly.
No fucking way could he have done that. Even if the police got over there, to one of them, there was no way it was going to happen. But he made an
Exactly.
actual choice. And the choice was, of course, Harvey Dent. Because Gotham needs Harvey Dent. They needed him. They needed someone, to be the White Knight. They had to have someone for that. And Batman couldn't do it. Batman was hated too much to do that. Even though the people supported him, it would never have worked. They had to have Harvey Dent. He had to pick him. And the result is half of Harvey's face gets blown off.
And even in Spider-Man, although his choice isn't a direct choice like Batman's choice, because there it's in your face, it's either you save this one or that one, make your choice. In Spider-Man, he has a choice, oh, I can stop this guy or not, or consider it not my problem. And he feels the ramifications of that choice later on. Whereas Batman, it's directly right there. In Superman, he clearly has a chance to make several choices to avoid this entire issue, and it's so
He doesn't.
frustrating.
He just
He
doesn't.
just do it wrong.
He
And
just stands there and watches this man who has raised him for X number of years die, and then what does he do? He abandons he abandons Martha Kent. He leaves her there in Kansas and goes off and becomes a fisherman and drills for oil and other stuff because he has to find himself.
But I think we also have to remember that it's made very clear that Superman hates humans. So that might also be played into it, but I don't think he hates them at that point. So still
wait,
bad.
he hates humans? I never got that from the movie.
Not the movies, but it's somewhere that like it specifically
It's
says
in the movie.
he dislikes humans.
It is in the movies. You can see. I mean, like the only human being that he really has any emotional attachment to, other than the Kents, is Lois Lane. That's the only person he gives a shit about, and that's only because he had to. It's only because she was smart enough to figure out, oh look, there's this buried spaceship. oh, why are you here at all these random ass things, and then you're just there? Like she was smart enough to figure it out, and it the way he treats her, you can see it pisses him off. You can see it pisses him off. You
Like,
know
he
it.
does it out of duty. He defends the Earth out of duty. It's not like
He
he
does. He
generally
does.
wants to.
He does. Which is where the scene when they're on General Zod's spaceship and he blows out the wall and flies out. It's like, I'm Jesus. No, 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 you're not Jesus, dude. You're an alien from another planet who came here, and you can't fucking stand anyone on this planet because you don't want to be here. You want to be home because you never got to know your real dad. You have serious daddy issues. You have more daddy issues than Batman does, and Batman watched his parents get shot.
It's true, though.
Jesus!
Yeah, which is again why I think that Man of Steel is not a good portrayal of Superman at all. Not
No,
not
it's
the
not.
Superman I want.
It's not. It's really not. And it fucks up the Jesus allegory. It really does. I'm sorry. You have the guy who's supposed to be Jesus. He's supposed to be our savior. He's a dick. He's a dick to every human being around him, except for one of them, and that's only because she's pretty and because she's smart. That's it.
And like, it makes me miss the old '90s cartoons. It really does.
And then you have the end scene, where he's fighting General Zod. There's these people there, and Zod's blasting with his laser eyes. It's like, Superman's, what can I do? What can I do? I'm going to break his neck, and then I'm going to scream like a 5-year-old. No, why? Why? Why, Superman? Why? What? You could have just punched him. Superman could have punched him. But no, he goes,
Or cover his eyes up.
Oh,
Or maybe
God.
just covered his eyes.
That is after fighting back and forth to Metropolis and killing millions of people and doing billions of dollars of damage. Jeez,
And I haven't seen the Age of Ultron movie yet, but one of the things I noticed when Iron Man was fighting Hulk, Iron Man tries to take Hulk out of the city.
He does.
Tries.
He does. He tries
And that's
to.
the only instance where he has, like, a hero has actively tried to reduce the damage they're doing around them.
Well, okay. In the comic where Superman and Doomsday fight, Superman initially intercepted Doomsday like 30 miles outside of Metropolis. I mean, he intentionally went after him and tried to stop him, but they just kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and Superman kept getting pushed back. I mean, he's trying. He's really trying to limit the casualties. You see in The Dark Knight Rises, they're trying to limit the casualties. That's what happened. I mean, like, they're really trying to. I mean, it's a nuclear fucking bomb that's going to blow off the turret in 6 miles, but they're trying to coordinate. They're trying to stop it. In Superman, he's like, "Oh look, I'm going to punch you through a building." Whee! And then he breaks his neck after a mother and her child nearly get killed. I mean, a trail of destruction across Metropolis, and then he has the fucking balls to walk into the day of planet and be like, "Can I have a job? I'm a reporter," and the first damn person he sees there is the bitch who knows who he is. The only person he has he has any contact with other than his parents. And oh, what happens to his mama and daddy's house? It gets blown the fuck up because he goes there and people know who he is. Superman sucks. That's what I get at. Superman sucks. I'm now completely on Batman's side. I want him off the damn planet.
I also hate Superman. Well, I don't hate Superman, but I don't like him, and I'm all for Batman. But like, I'm Team Batman, but I'm also Team Harley Quinn.
I love Superman, but I don't like this Superman in particular. I like the old Superman back in Christopher Reeve's days and the '90s cartoons days. That's the kind of Superman that I liked and enjoyed.
I liked Superman then. I really did. But now, like, the more I think about okay.
And I was even trying to give Man of Steel the benefit of the doubt, but the more I think about it, the less I like this version of Superman.
And see, like, what really bothers me is, again, that he's supposed to be an allegorical Jesus. I mean, that's something
Or
that
or the perfection of humanity, or human ideals, basically.
it's easier just to say Jesus. Just work with me here. I
Mm.
mean, like seriously. He even does a cruciform position with the
Yeah,
light behind him. It's like, look, here's my halo. I
I
don't have
seriously,
I don't have the wooden boards, but look at me. I
I
came.
seriously cringed. I cringed when I saw that. I was like,
Yeah,
don't, why, don't.
he's supposed to be
I mean,
Jesus.
a lot of the superhero video movies have parts that make you cringe.
But that one especially, it's like so overplayed, so overdone.
It is,
It's
and
done wrong.
Is there
it,
any, do, whoever is who directed that? I
I
don't
don't know. I don't
know. Do
can't
they have
remember.
any idea of what the word subtlety is? Please.
We'll see. Okay. It pisses me off thinking about it. Anyway, I'm fine with him being an allegorical Jesus. I'm cool with that. It's neat. I like the idea. He's the son of someone. He came here. You know, he's only powerful on our planet. He's here to save us all. I get that. He's Jesus. Okay, I'm fine. I can live with that. But when you look at what they did in the movie, where he snapped some motherfucker's neck. I mean, I don't recall in the Bible Jesus saying, "This is the blood," this is my blood, this is my body. No, I don't recall
Okay, no, no,
Jesus.
no, no. Jesus did go into a temple full of traitors and flipped every table in there.
He did. He
He
did.
is the
He
original
did.
table flipper.
Table flip.
He did that, and that's cool. But I don't recall Jesus being like, oh, hey, wait, hang on a minute. I don't recall it just being like, hey,
I guess you could say when Clark froze the satellite down, that's him table flipping. Maybe, I don't know.
it's like, hey, Judas, no, that doesn't work for me. No, there should not be a when Judas's name brought up. It's wrong. It doesn't work. And then all that damage, and the only people he cares about, one of them, he just stood there like, oh no, he's gonna die.
And
Uh,
they could have easily fixed this by just like him actively trying to get them out of the city.
it's
He,
it to me. To
if
me, it's
he just tried, if he just
to
tried
me
to get them out of the city.
to me basically. Uh, what's what the Man of Steel represents is atheism. It's like, look, here's everything, or actually, yeah, no, yeah, atheism, because like it's like, look, here's everything wrong with religion. You see all this destruction. There's your cool buddy there, Jesus. That's what's wrong with it. I'm like, no, Superman should not represent that. He's supposed to represent all of the good things, like all of the good things, and then you have him be a complete dick to people, break somebody's neck, and he doesn't care. He does not care. He is currently, right now, as of this conversation, the most amoral superhero for me. I can't stand him, and it pisses me off right now to think about it.
Yeah, and I'm a Superman fan. I like Superman better than Batman, but not in this case because they they just ruined Superman. They literally ruined Superman.
I
Congrats.
actually
It's not that they ruined him. They just, did it wrong,
No, they ruined him. They ruined his character. At least for this iteration of Superman. Maybe they can redeem him in, I don't know, 5 years when they try again. If, but,
no.
but
I
then,
think we're going to be stuck with this version of Superman, who is, like,
You
I
can't even
have.
call him Superman though, because he's not.
he's
Oh,
not.
that's right. That's right. We can't even call him that. Silly me. I forgot.
It's just that he doesn't like. When you make a movie based on something, it should really follow what it's based off of. Like, That's why a lot of these books to movies are awful, because
Well,
they skip over a lot of, like, it's
except
tiny but they're really big plot points, and
no,
they're
except
skipping over his plot
they're
points.
no, except they are following the new Superman, which is again why I said all, or not all, but almost all of the modern comics suck. They suck because they're trying to they're reversing all of the progress of the character for decades. They either aren't willing to let them retire or die off or train a new superhero or whatever, or they're just completely radically changing the character and trying to make them dark and gritty and real,
Well,
whatever
that's
that
because it's
means.
about money. They
And
want money, and they get money when they continue the series, and they reboot it and reboot it and reboot it, and they take everything that was good about the original and they try and put it in a like a real world modern setting, and it destroys it.
it's
Like
just
Blizzard.
sad. It's terrible to watch, and I it's like I almost want them to kill these characters off. I almost want them to end these characters. I really do.
And
Just
that's
to
sad. Like, you
save.
shouldn't want your favorite characters to die, but like we said before, everything needs to have an ending, and these things need to have endings. Like, the comic books, like, there needs to be a point where they're like, okay, we need to stop, because we're ruining what made it good originally. They can keep doing the movies and the TV shows, because that's like they're rebooting it based on, like, the different directors and the different writers, and that's fine, because it's not like a huge, storyline. It's a movie, but like they need to make it so that they're not basing the movies off of these quote unquote canon ideals of just ruined characters.
And it's one of the reasons that although I'm really excited for Civil War, I'm dreading seeing it too because I'm afraid the same exact problems that versus Super. I mean, Marvel at least has built up Civil War a little more. It has more backstory. It has more standing, more ground. Even still, I'm very, very afraid of what's going to happen.
And it really shouldn't get to that point. You shouldn't look at an upcoming superhero movie and be like, oh wow, they're going to screw this up. You should get excited and be like, oh man, I can't wait to see how the different directors and the different writers and the different actors and all of these like different interpretations, like I want to see how good this is. It's like now we're dreading it because we're so scared because of past representations, and it's like all of this stuff is just pointing towards everything new being awful, and it shouldn't be that way.
And it's partly because we're just retelling the same stories over and over and over again.
There's no
And
progress, there's no changes, there's like no different interpretations. There's just this same set of circumstances that happen over and over and over again, and it's boring, and it just becomes like a trope, and it's just bad.
yeah, like I was saying earlier, and one of the thing, like whether you're looking at Spider-Man, whether you're looking at Batman or Superman I can understand slightly more because he's basically immortal, so that's a little bit different, but we need these characters to progress. We need them to move on. We need them to hand the mantle down. Just
So that you
like
can make a new iteration of that character, and you can, instead of rebooting the series, you make an entirely new series, but it still relates back to the original. Like,
like
there's no progression and the character development that they reverse back so that they can build up that character development again. It's like you can't just backtrack on someone's character development so that you can do it again. Like, that doesn't make sense.
which is one of the most terrible things that they're doing with Spider-Man right now.
Like, if
And
you
what
really want to reinvent a character, then actually reinvent them by making a new character. Like,
which
all stories need to end, but an ending doesn't mean that the whole thing's gone. It just means that, hey, this part is over. We can start over new by making somebody else the hero.
and one of the best examples of that, one of the very best examples of that I've ever seen And I'm not even the biggest Batman fan there. I mean, I like Batman, I enjoy Batman, but I'm not a diehard Batman fan like John is. But one of the best, freshest interpretations of that I've ever seen was Batman Beyond. And it is one of my favorite shows ever. And I know it's not the most popular show ever, but it honestly was one of my favorite comic shows ever. And I'm a huge, huge Batman Beyond fan, just because they actually did a new Batman.
And I think
A
that
new
like
Batman.
instead of just like killing a character off, there needs to be like, hey, we're not ending the series completely, we're just ending this part of the story and giving someone else's story a chance. And then you can build their character and build their development, their relationships, their view on life, make them be this one way and then have them warm up to being another way.
Anyway, okay. It's almost the 2 hour mark.
Yeah,
Like I hate to interrupt this conversation because I think we've probably topped last week's show. But it's getting to be around the 2 hour mark, and I actually had another topic I was going to bring up, but I may save it for next week. Um, Anyway, before we get to closing remarks, I want to say something personal. June 6th is my parents' wedding anniversary. They have been married 34 years. So happy anniversary, Mama and Daddy. I love you both very, very much. Uh, I kind of have to because I wouldn't be here without you. Um, yeah, they're great parents, and I'm glad they got married because they had me, and then I could be here and I can argue about comic books and stuff. But yeah, happy anniversary to them. Anyway,
happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary!
any closing remarks from you two or
Well, the
thoughts?
Rangers
Please?
fucking lost, so no.
Oh well,
Spider-Man rules.
no, he didn't roll. Nick, he didn't roll.
Harley
Spider-Man.
Quinn rules!
He
Harley Quinn
does.
rules too. She does. We all agree on that.
Well, then I guess that's going to be it for this week. And I need to get back to doing the walkthroughs for the starting areas. I've been promising to do that. I'm sorry for not doing it. I'm gonna do more Iron Man challenges. And by the way, Danny and Nick, I challenge both of you to do Iron Man.
I'll try over the
Okay?
weekend.
Yeah, just try it. It's fun. But like I said, that's going to be it for this week. And uh, midweek show coming up on Wednesday, uh, and then there's going to be another show with all three of us next week. So yeah, goodbye. Have a great weekend.
Bye!
Bye, everyone.